Have you ever thought about creating an Ironman gauntlet but didn't know where to start? This is the video for you. So before you can do any sizing on a project like this, you have to find the right files. Now, for this project, I did go with a little bit of a controversial designer or model or whatever you want to call him. I went with Budwin on MakerWorld. It's controversial because some say he steals Do3D and other good 3D modelers' designs, but I wasn't going to buy a whole Mark 85 suit off of Do3D just to use the arm. So I went with Budwin's hand and his arm, his Universal Iron Man hand and his arm, just for this project. He isn't what I usually use. And there will be links to both of those in the description. Okay, once I got the model figured out of what I was going to use, I wanted to get the biggest and hardest stuff done first. So obviously, that would be the forearm. And as you can see, I went through many different iterations of the forearm just to get it right. Don't mind this one, it's broken. I'll tell you about that later. And yeah, one piece of advice I can highly recommend is to always measure before you print, especially on something like the forearm, where the length is super easy to measure. Now what I did was I went into MakerWorld and first I measured how big the 100% scale forearm was. I forget exactly how much it was. I might find out later, I don't know. But then I took this measuring tape. You probably have one somewhere, probably in your garage. And you can just measure from where you want the tip of the forearm to where you want the end of the forearm. And that was super simple because you just, I didn't have the forearm on when I measured this, but this is about 8.5 inches long in total. So I decided I wanted my forearm to be 8.5 inches, and then I just measured it on MakerWorld and I scaled it to whatever 8.5 inches was. And it's honestly as simple as that with the length. Now, with the wrist, it gets a little bit more complicated. As you can see with the wrist, I printed lots of test prints. A lot of them failed. Basically, all I needed to do was be able to get my hand through it. Now, see, this is too small. I forget what this one is. I think I squished this one. This one also was too small. This one was barely too small. And I think this one was perfect right before I broke it, because I just felt like breaking it because it was a stressful day, okay? So yeah, I printed lots of these. These are hollow. They're squishy. It's literally just one wall throughout the whole thing, completely hollow. That's just to save filament and time. And once I got the length and the wrist size, then I could just hit I could uncheck the uniform scaling, and I could do the print. One thing I can say not to do is what I was doing at first was I cut a little part out of the forearm to make sure I could get the forearm to be the right size. But honestly, you can fix that with padding, because look, you can't really measure anything off of this. So yeah, don't recommend doing that. When I first printed the arm, I didn't do any measuring because I was a total idiot and I didn't know what I was doing. And a video about it is on my Instagram. But the forearm is way too big. Like, I can't even move my arm, and this thing is almost solid. Because it's 3 walls on each thing, it'll take a lot to break this. Which is good if it's a final print, but when you're printing, highly recommend measure first. Biggest thing I'm going to stress in this video, measure first. Don't want to do stuff like this. Okay, so back to when I got all my measuring done. It was small enough that I could fit the whole forearm on my A1. Now, just to make sure the sizing was correct, I printed out one hollow, just like I did for the wrist test prints. I printed it out hollow, and it came out great. I wore it so much it ended up cracking in a little spot right here, just because I wore it so much, testing the stuff on it. But yeah, I'll probably use this for paint testing later. But yeah, this fit great, and then I wanted to print a solid one that I was actually going to use. Then came this one. So when I hit print on the forearm that was supposed to be the final one, I forgot to change the settings, and it came out hollow again, and I tried time-lapsing it, and I forgot to put a prime tower, and it just came out completely horrible. So yeah, I broke it. Yeah. And then finally, you get the final product, which is right here. Solid, nice, smooth print, came out great, fits great, it's all great. Now, when I started the printing of the hand, I figured if I can get the front of the hand correct, then the back to the same scale should also be correct. So the first one I printed was a little big. This is just I think this is 97% scale. It fits pretty good if I was going to put a ton of electronics in here, but all I'm really going to have is a light and a switch. So this is too big. You can see it doesn't quite line up with my fingers and everything on the joints. So that one was too big. And then I accidentally made it too small. I think this is like 93%. This would also fit great if I was doing 0 electronics, because there is 0 wiggle room in here. And then I eventually got, this is the final hand. I taped it together after I got it. This is also a shell. It's squishy, just like the other test prints I did. Again, it saves filament and time. And then I just whoa. This tape probably isn't going to hold because it's been sitting out a while. But it fits great. Joints line up correctly. I can freely move my fingers. It's awesome. Again, test before you print solid. And now I have these, which I'm going to break now. I was waiting to do this on the video. Let's do it. Oh, yes. Perfect. It'll need some cleanup, but it fits great. Yay. Now for the next one. And there you go. Full hand, complete, to the same size. This is gonna be awesome. Now when it comes to this little guy right here, it's the plate that covers the hand. All you really have to do is take the back of your hand in whatever slicer you're using and put the images right next to each other and see where it lines up the best, and then you can size it based on that. I took a lot of inspiration from other images to see where exactly they would fit together the best. And yeah, I eventually got it. One moment. This was the first one I did. I didn't really have to print any more of these. Again, this is the shell. But the filament ran out when it had not a lot of layers left, and then I had a layer shift and a color shift, and it worked fine, but then I just ended up breaking it off because I was going to print another one anyways. But yeah, this fits great on that hand. I'll show you in a second, once I break that one off, how it should fit together. Let's do it. This one's fairly simple. It always falls over. Like, watch. Barely touch it, it falls over. Ah, there we go. Perfect. This is not a perfect print by any means. I don't know if you can see it, but it's definitely apparent from where I'm at right now. Alright, so when it's all said and done, it should look like that when it's covering the hand. That's about how much it should cover, and then it should also cover the gap in between your wrist and the back of this. So, I do have some ideas with how I'm going to attach this so that I can still freely move my hand and my wrist at the same time. So, stay tuned for that. Anyways, next came genuinely the hardest part with printing this hand. Fingers. Fingers are the hardest part because there is literally no way that the file will fit all of your fingers. I think every single one of these is a completely different size. I had so many test prints. These are all hollow because they're so thin, they're almost solid anyways. So I just printed them hollow, and that's what they're going to be for the finished product as well. It feels like they're solid, but they're not. I can't even stress, you're going to have to print and test and print and test and print and test. It's trial and error with fingers. There's really no good way to do it. You're going to have to uncheck the uniform sizing box on your slicer because your fingers are not the same size. They're not proportional, like this. But with some of these, if you print it and let's say this is way too big for my index finger, it fits great on my middle finger. Like, this isn't the one I'm using, but it could be the one I'm using. And I think I'm going to use elastic on the inside of these fingers to be able to pull them and stretch them and hold them together. We'll see how that goes. That'll be in an upcoming video as well. These are the final fingers that I will be using for this project. Just had to take the rim off that one real quick. I'm going to be wearing black gloves underneath these, so it should look great. I have decent mobility. I can only curve my hand about that much, but yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Fingers, definitely hardest part. Trial and error every single time. And I almost forgot the last piece that I would recommend printing, last in order, is this silver piece right here. It's supposed to be in the mesh under Iron Man's suit. Basically, you just scale this the same width as your arm, you scale this to the same percent height and width of your arm, and it should fit great. It looks good. I just have it taped on the prototype arm for now. I just haven't moved it yet. That's pretty much it. There's nothing much about this. Oh, I will be keeping this a raw print because honestly it came out pretty good, and I don't feel like going in and sanding all of those grooves, so it should look fine. And highly recommended the bamboo silver PLA Plus. It looks like metal. It does. Like gray metal, I don't know. It looks like silver. But yeah, it works great for this kind of stuff. Okay, final tips and tricks I would recommend for sizing and just some problems I went through. So, sizing. Make sure uniform scaling is off. It'll help you a ton throughout the entire process. You can change the height, width, and everything. Make sure you print shell prints. That's what I call the hollow ones first. Those are the test ones to make sure everything fits and you're not wasting a whole bunch of filament. Fingers, trial and error. Emphasize this enough already, I think. Yeah, you can basically just eyeball the hand plate. You can basically just eyeball this. It's pretty straightforward. The hand, it shouldn't take too long to size the hand. You just guess, I guess. Just print it. I would say print it around the same scaling that you had your arm. So, turn uniform scaling back on for the arm. Or for the hand. I'm sorry, for the hand. Uniform scaling has to be on for the hand, or else the circle will not come out correctly. That's pretty much it. Some problems I ran into. My mistake. I printed this hollow on accident, and it's just easy to break. Other mistakes. Make sure you size before you print. And I already said this, but shell print first. Don't solid print first. I can't emphasize that enough. I wasted a ton of filament and print hours on this arm just for it to not be the correct size, and that was just me being a complete idiot. So, I guess that's going to be all for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.